Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome back to another spectacular Wi-Fi production. DBD in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this. One of the most obvious blatant cheaters I have ever witnessed. In fact, I had such great delight in destroying this cheater, I figured I would take it from my VOD and share it with all of you to see, that we may revel in a rather glorious manner today with one another. Now, rhyming and jokes aside, DBD in 2026 is probably, if not definitely, the worst state it's ever been. You see, outside of cheaters, which I'm using here just for good content, really. Everyone loves it when a cheater loses, but outside of cheaters, you see matches like that poor Ghostface game I had where you try to respect a survivor's time, right? As a killer, I don't have to. But sometimes I'm like, I kind of want to. But then I realize these survivors don't respect my time at all. In fact, they actually despise me. They don't like me. They don't want me to have any fun at all. So I have developed a sort of a brand new meta. A meta that prioritizes my fun. The same way they prioritize their own fun and don't care about the killing. And ultimately, behavior has made Dead by Daylight into an extremely... how should we put it? Into an extremely stupid corner where killers are forced to use really oppressive slug builds in order to guarantee a win 9 out of 10 times. You see, what I've discovered more so recently now than ever is that generator regression perks, they're basically useless. In fact, there's really no point in even bringing them because those gens are going to get done regardless, whether you like it or not. So instead of trying to stall the game and make it last longer, so, everyone can have a little bit more fun, what you have to do is focus on the downfall of the survivors. You see, you don't want to stall the game to keep it going. No, you want to slug and tunnel to prevent the game from even ending to begin with. And it's funny because seeing 10 months ago, almost a full year, what DBD was compared to what it is now, it's an absolute joke, man. DBD 10 months ago, you could still play really low tier killers. We're talking like Ghostface and Doctor, stuff like that. And you could still have a really good time, regardless of whatever build you're using. But now, oh man, how the mighty have fallen. Behavior. What are we doing? Behavior says they want one thing to happen, but then they do the exact opposite. They say they want kill rates to be around 60% for the majority of killers, and yet even killers like Blight struggle to maintain a 54% kill rate. This is horrible. And you see four-man Swifts like this, and it's like, dude, nothing has changed. Behavior keeps giving more and more for survivors, and it's still not enough. If anything, I personally feel like as a killer main, survivors have gotten worse. I mean, there are so many games where I'm playing as a even remotely mobile killer, a killer that has some form of mobility when compared to others, like Ghostface, right, or Trapper, stuff like that. And despite having over 16 to 18 pallets, sometimes more, we're talking 20 pallets a map, they only ever use maybe 5 or 6 pallets. It's really strange to me. And you see people like Otstarva giving like an extremely brain dead take saying shoulder the burden should be a base kit feature when you go against games like that as a Ghostface main. If stuff like that was ever base kit, the game would just be over for over half of DBD's roster. In fact, killers like Michael Myers and Ghostface, two of my favorite killers in the entire game, I haven't played them in months, dude. Months. Because every time I do, it is absolute torture. It's a genuine humiliation ritual to play those older killers. So I just started playing killers that have really high mobility, and I just have fun. I slug, I tunnel, I win, right? And that's not to say I only do that. No, of course not. Every now and then I let someone go because that's what old DBD was like. That's what 2018, 2019, 2020 DBD was like. And the only way to emulate that now is with killers that are basically able to just traverse across the map in 5 to 10 seconds. Yeah, 5 to 10 seconds. Because these older killers, man, they're cooked. They're cooked, dude. All of this to say, DBD in 2026 is an absolute joke. The 10th anniversary chapter is right on the horizon. As of the point of making this video, I don't know what that anniversary chapter will be. One can speculate. That being said, if DBD wants to actually survive another year, who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? This game's going to keep going on, right? Until there's a genuine competitor that can actually, you know, hold their ground against Dead by Daylight, it's not going anywhere. The truth is, these survivors, they could be given 12-gauge shotguns, they could be given body armor, they could be given literal crack cocaine to get like a 110% haste boost, and they would still somehow mess that up. They would still somehow fumble the bag, fumble the win, so to speak, and then just complain about some other stupid killer who is literally like C-, C tier, and blame it all on them. Balancing around ignorance and bad playstyles is not a good way to keep a game going. Between the pallet density update shortly after Springtrap was added and the quote quality of life update, which just gave survivors base kit unbreakable, made it so if you tunnel out a survivor, you as a killer just lose the game pretty much instantly. I don't know. I don't think DBD will ever actually be back at its golden era, its prime time, so to speak, because the problem is, a great example actually, when the behavior devs actually listen to us few killer mains who actually have the balls to speak out and not just mince the truth about the pallet density update, there were people who, before the update was even live, before even really checking most maps, after they, quote, redistributed the pallets or readjusted the loops, they were just going through this saying, wow, this sucks, wow, this is so bad. Meanwhile, in those same videos, you could see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pallets all still next to each other. The only difference is they were much less safe and spread out much further apart from each other. And this just goes to show there are so many people who have an input in this game that genuinely do not want to see it get better. They just want to see behavior's cash cows, SWFs, survivors in general. They want to see them thrive even more. The killer role has genuinely become reduced nothing more than a babysitter role. And as a killer main, I refuse to be that. I will be annoying. I will kill the survivors because it's in the title. The game may not be scary for them, but guess what? I'm a killer main. I kill. That's my job. You don't like it? Too bad. And that's ultimately what the game has been reduced to. The fact that survivors are actually complaining about the killer role killing them, I'm not sure when this happened. Feel free to leave a comment down below, because I've only started playing DBD again for about a year. When did survivors become so incredibly entitled and so bratty to the point where behavior started catering to their every single crybaby need, their crybaby wants? I don't know when this happened, but it's like when I stopped playing in early 2020 and started playing again in like late 2024, early 2025, it's two completely different games. Am I saying the game should be so over the top for the killer role that survivors should feel impossible to play? No. Duh. Obviously not. But I am saying the power role should be a power role for all killers, not just a select maybe 5 or 6. The fact that I can face Count Dracula and stun the guy 3-4 times, maybe loop him for about 5 minutes and only get injured once, that is ridiculous. When you have these name brand characters in a game, they have to be powerful. And honestly, I think the fact that they're even still selling Ghostface, given the current state he's in, I feel like that's pretty much theft, in my opinion. You know, people who are new to this game, God forbid anyone new touches this game, but someone who's new sees Ghostface is like, oh man, one of my favorite horror movie slashers of all time. Check them out. They're going to be severely disappointed. But yeah, the new meta, slugging. The new meta, tunneling. The new meta is ultimately just playing as quote-unquote dirty as you possibly can, because playing fair always leads to you losing. And it's strange, really, because behavior says they don't want this, and yet they actively promote it. Shoulder the burden, decisive strike, dead hard. Way, way too common, man. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, feel free to drop a like and or subscribe. That being said, by the time you're seeing this, I'll probably be live on Saturday, 7 p.m. EST. Feel free to check me out if you would like, or if you don't want to, whatever, man. I'm not your dad. Regardless, I hope you all have an amazing day and or evening. God bless y'all. Peace.